And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, what's up, everyone? It is the Weighing In Podcast, and we got stuff to talk about, and it's not fights. Well, it is a couple, but there's some missing in there. And whatever this was called, the UFC from the Apex and all this stuff, whatever you wanted to call it, Blanchfield versus Barber, fight night, whatever, it was a disaster. Because nothing went right. How many fights did they lose on this card? They had to have, I want to say, at least 8 fights canceled in the end, back and forth with different things. They were moving people in, moving people out. They were doing everything they could. Sometimes, Josh, it's just not meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's really nothing as a promotion.
No, they tried.
Yeah,
they tried.
You can try to bring people in. Like, here's the thing. The UFC is brought up, like, in Vegas. You're like, I have fighters at my disposal with all these other promotions. Like, I can bring someone in, like a Danny Ige on a day's notice. You're like, yeah, save the show. And he can do it. But guess what? And tonight, there was nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. This whole thing was a shit show from beginning to end.
It's happened before.
It has. I mean, we've had multiple times where there was like 3 title fights on one night. There was a total collapse. Actually, multiple times. There was 2 times that UFC, happened, right? Yeah. 2 times there was 3 title fights on one night, and it just didn't work out. This was one of those cards where, like, man, it could be it could be one of those fights where, like, everyone's sleeping on it, and then all of a sudden the card came up. Fighters missed weight. Fighters didn't show up. Fighters just didn't want to fight. It just came up until the fighters didn't want to fight.
You know what? This has happened. When I say it's happened in the past, UFC, let's go all the way back. UFC 11 was in Augusta, Georgia. And you figure how that's long before George was born. Happy birthday, George. It is George's birthday.
Before a lot of these fans were born, John.
Exactly. But there was no final. It was a tournament at the time. Tank Abbott was in it, Mark Coleman, but couldn't get it. You know, people dropping out, falling out. So they actually had Mark Coleman wrestle Kevin Randleman, who no one knew at the time, unless you were a wrestling fan. So I knew who Kevin was, and he was an NC2A champion. And dude, Kevin is allowing Mark to suplex him and do all these things, and people are like, "Yeah, we're not interested. They're not fighting."
Well, Mark and Kevin knew each other, obviously, from Ohio State wrestling.
Oh yeah, they were friends.
Best friends.
But then later on, Kevin Randleman was supposed to fight Pedro Hizzo in the main event for the championship, and is in the back doing sprints, and he hits some the metal pipes, and feet go out, hits his head on, knocks himself out. So that was guess what's canceled? The main event. This shit happens, you know. It just happens. Night. It just happens.
It's a sport, like it's one of those things. That, look, when you're literally warming up in the back, you're constantly thinking. If you guys, there's a video going around on YouTube of Khabib and I like warming up in the back before his Pat Healy fight in Chicago, and you see John Jones sitting in the corner. The whole story is about John Jones, basically like watching Khabib warm up, blah 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 blah, like whatever it is. I'm the warm up partner for Khabib. My whole thing is like, don't cut him, don't hurt him. Like just like hold your elbows in tight. Don't like as a warm up partner, you're that person that is like you're the rag doll. You're the person that's like whatever you want to do. You tell me what you want from me. I'll threaten this choke. I'll threaten this choke. I'll threaten this knee bar, this arm bar, whatever it is. You just let me know what you want, so I don't hurt you, and you know what's coming, and you can get into the flow of like where the transition comes from. Yeah. So. Those are things like when you're watching and you're seeing the fights develop. Tonight was one of those nights where it didn't matter what happened. Like you weren't getting the fight. You just weren't like, I was excited about the Gamrot fight versus Klein only because I want to see how it played out. It obviously didn't live up to expectation. Whatever
it played out exactly like I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I know, John. I had in my mind, I'm like, man, if Klein could just land 1 or 2 punches, land 1 or 2 kicks, It might change the way Gamrot fights. Like, in my mind, John, like,
no,
if
you had talked to Ludwig Klein, and he told you, Josh, I'm gonna freaking back him into the fence. I'm gonna pound the shit. I'm gonna knee him, and I'm gonna win. And you went, yes.
No, John, I didn't even listen to what the fuck he said. I just simply said, I was like, John, if I listen to any fighter, I'm changing my mind.
That's why I said that you listen to him.
Changing my mind right off the bat. If you're a fighter and like you want me to bet on you, just send me a text and be like, just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna and just say it with motivation, and I'm on your side 100%. 100%. Like the last time, what's it called? Dustin Poirier fought. He sent me like this message, and I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, bro, I'm all in your shit. Like, I'm Dustin Poirier, live or die. Like, you're the guy. Like, it didn't matter. Like Frankie, same thing. Frankie was saying, I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And every single time, I'm a forgetter guy. Every single time, didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what happened. John, what's your take on these type of situations? Like, look, Macy Barber, she missed weight. What was your take on that? That was one. Two is like the whole thing that happened. Like what? Like she just collapsed, had seizures. Like we're in a different world right now where like things like this can't happen to your main event.
You know what it's like, and most people don't know what it's like in the back, but you know what it's like, and you know what it's like when they're knocking on your door and they're telling you 5 minutes before you're out. And they had Macy Barber, and the exact, not the position in the apex, but you know what it's like when you're standing at the opening, waiting for them to give you the signal that you're walking out now. That's where she was at. And all of a sudden, whatever happened, she decided she had to go back. And that's when things started to unravel. And I don't know why. You've got, the UFC has doctors that are part of their organization that work for them, that take care of the fighters. You also have the athletic commission doctors that are there. And obviously, at a certain point, they said, okay, she can't fight. And I don't know what it is. There's something, shit happens. Look at, Joe Pfeiffer against, Kevin Gastelum. He was in Mexico and, all of a sudden he, Montezuma's revenge hit him. And that's what it was. And he's like, I can't go out there. I'm going to shit myself. And he's being honest. Easier
to say when Mexican water's been drank.
That's true. That's true. But
I'm sorry, man. It is true. But I drank some Mexican water. I had some ice cubes. Like all of a sudden, I can't. I'm like, fuck, it's coming out of me like a.
All of a sudden, I can't fart.
With Macy Barber, I don't know, man. Like as a promotion, I know that like a lot of people when they listen to our shows, like Josh Thompson, you hate Dana, you hate the UFC. No, I do not hate them. I do not hate Dana White. I actually admire Dana White because there's a lot of things that I admire about him. People don't realize that if you didn't see what just happened recently, Dana's put a lot of money into like saving one of my closest friends in Cain Velasquez, paid for his bail, did all these things. I have nothing but positive things to say about Dana White. People talk shit. People tell me I talk shit about Dana. No, I have my own personal reasons with Dana White. Sure. And those are personal reasons. That has nothing to do with like literally like I see what he's done for the sport. I see what he's done for my boy with Cain. I've seen what he's done for like a ton of guys in my promotion. Like not just in my gym. All the guys that he's helped along the way. I'm sorry, man. I have nothing negative to say about Dana White. There's flaws in every person. Every person. And Dana's definitely not flawless. Trust me. And John's laughing right now but it's true. But the thing is you can admire what someone does to help lift the ones that he sees potential in, to grow them into like make sure they live up to their potential. I have nothing but respect for people like that. Because there's a lot of people that be like, we just walk past them. Be like, you know what? I'm your boss. You just do what I tell you to do and this and that. Dana he finds ways to make sure that he finds the guys that he can build and tries to do the best he can to build those fighters. In this situation, like he saw something in Macy Barber. He believes in Macy Barber. He tried to give her a platform to perform on. Tonight was not her night. Like from the weigh-ins to whatever happened tonight, whatever it was, it didn't work. I'm sure he's extremely frustrated, but you see his revenge status, though, in certain fighters, though, when he does have problems. Arman Tsarukyan, why is he not fighting for the title? Because you did me dirty, and you know why you did me dirty. And those are the problems that you're going to have, like with Dana. Dana's a very cut and dry. Like, I had this scheduled for you. I put money into you. I built you up. I want to see what happens with Macy Barber after this. We've seen what's happened with Arman Tsarukyan. We're going to see if it plays out with her the same way. She has the potential to become the champion. I don't know if she will be. I can't tell you. But Arman is the person that's right there at the top. I put myself in that situation. I was fighting for the title with Anthony Pettis and also, too, with Yves Edwards. Both fights were supposed to be for the title. Never came to fruition. He has a way of making sure that shit doesn't come about if something happened. If something happened that he didn't like. And so this is one of those situations with Macy Barber. I don't know if it's something that the reality that the doctor said, like she cannot fight. Does she have seizures? Does she have a problem in the back? Was she like walking out? Whatever it was.
So Aaron Blanchfield reveals she was told Macy Barber suffered a seizure backstage.
There you go.
There you go.
Nothing you can say. If you're nothing you can say.
And that's not her fault.
Absolutely not. I hope they don't hold anything against her. I hope she fights again. I don't know if she will ever fight again, but I'm simply saying, like, when you start having seizures in the back right before you fight, as a promoter, there's a lot of things that go through your mind. Oh, fuck, yeah. Am I going to get sued?
No, the first thing you do is you say, "Thank God that happened before she went out."
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, John, there was something like George, what was that thing you posted on our news channel? The last thing you posted was about that young kid from New Zealand who did the whole face-off thing. It's this whole tackle football thing where you guys running each other.
Oklahoma drill.
It's like basically slap fighting, but in a very compact way where you guys run each other. You run full speed into each other. This young 19-year-old kid dies from New Zealand. Am I correct or am I not?
No, you're correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And the worst thing you can ever do to any sport is have somebody die in your sport, whether it's tennis, golf.
Let's hold on.
Doesn't matter.
Let's clear this up. That kid, that 19-year-old, did not die in the sport, if you want to call it a sport, or the. He did it. He was doing the activity with his friends. Okay, it wasn't one of the shows that you're seeing. Some, especially the rugby players, have been doing these, runoffs against each other. One tackles, one's carrying a ball, and you're supposed to run through the person. The 19-year-old that died, kind of like you see the backyard wrestling stuff. That's what he was doing with his friends, and the collision happened, and he died from the collision.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If something is influenced by like boxing, MMA, and like someone dies from it, like, should we hold any more weight to it because it was influenced by that, or should we just be like, no big deal?
No,
I'm asking strictly as somebody that's like a 5-year-old kid, like asking a question. If I was a 5-year-old kid going, hey, like, I'm no way saying like, yeah, just hold UFC accountable, hold WWE accountable, AEW accountable. There's no way. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying, like, we had some sort of direct impact on whatever it was for them to do this. And did slap fighting have some sort of direct impact on these guys, like deciding to just run each other into each other? Like,
I don't know. Slap fighting can be blamed for the tackling thing, but I'll tell you what, it's a collision those guys are going into. You look at the NFL and everything that's happening with, head trauma and all the things that are occurring and what they're trying to do to mitigate it without completely changing the game, but they're changing the game, and they have to. Legally, if you don't, what's going to happen? They're going to say, well, you knew and you just allowed it to continue on. And now when this person down the road, and it's going to happen. The one thing that has not happened in the UFC, Josh, is there's never been a death in the UFC. It's amazing when you think about it. The odds are somewhere, somehow along the way, something's going to happen where you have someone that, tragically loses their life competing in the octagon based upon the way they land, all these different things, a punch. You never know what they went through in training, all these things. There's been quite a few deaths in MMA, nothing compared to like boxing, but these things are going to happen. The UFC, it's never happened. That's one of the things that they were able to hang their hat on, forever, is the fact that they've never had a fatality. They've had some things happen. There's been some big time injuries and some people really hurt, but nothing that you could sit there and say that the person couldn't come back again, which is pretty impressive.
No, my prediction is the very first fatality in this sport of MMA will come from someone getting hit in the back of the head. Whether it's an elbow, whether it's a strike, like we've seen, and look, I know people are going to say like, oh, you're just pointing this out because it's Michael Chandler. The Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira situation.
Yeah.
There was a lot of strikes to the back of the head. After being rocked, those are the type of situations that where there has to be a ref on top of those type of situations.
Yeah.
Simply saying that's where I feel like there'll be some problems. That or the weight cut. The weight cut situation.
Well, see, the weight cut is and that's why
huge.
It's always been this behind the scenes big, thing. And you've been to meetings over that stuff, and it's there's a huge element to it because we know. Look, where is this problem going to come from if it comes? Yeah. It's probably going to come from the weight cut.
Yeah, the weight cut to the damage to the head. Two things go together.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, I did the weight cut and I had a bad performance, got knocked out, got beat up, whatever it was. No, it's the weight cut mixed in with the lack of fluid in your brain, the lack of what's it called? Hydration in your body, whatever it is. All of it mixed together with the damage you take to your brain and your head. That's going to be the problem. So I look at it that way, and I look at like I said, the damage to the back of the head. Whether it's you get dropped and someone follows up and hits you in the back of the head. I use the Michael Chandler situation as one of those things. But simply put, just there's times where fighters get hit in the back of the head, especially in the upper weight classes from 85, 205 to heavyweight. Those guys crack and hit a lot harder than the 55ers and the 45s and the 35s and all the other people down below.
Well, so, I'm being honest. I used to look at, because when we started out in the sport, you could hit to the back of the head. And
that was the good old days, John.
It was the good old days. But,
not the safe days, the good old days. That's, yeah.
And in boxing, boxing is, the back of the head is completely different than the back of the head in MMA. But you can look at, I don't know if people know who Pritchard Colon is, but he was a boxer and you take a look at the shot that he took to the back of the head. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard, but not as hard as you've seen some take, in some ways. And he suffered irreparable brain damage, from it. And you look and you go, it only takes one, man. Yeah. And you never know. It's a tough one.
I'd love to give George and Podcast Dave that punch to the back of the head. That same one. Let's just see if they can take it. Let's go ahead and move on to Gamrot and Klein. Give me your take on this fight.
It went exactly like I personally thought it was going to. I thought Ludwig would have a lot of problems in staying away from Gamrot. Gamrot is, you have a lot of these people that are grapplers, and we talk about, guys that are, hey, he's a wrestler. He's really good with his takedowns and stuff, but his stand-up isn't that good. And I look at Mateusz Gamrot and I think his stand-up is not bad. He actually is aggressive with it. He's got a very good jab. He throws it well. He sets up his takedowns off of his stand-up. And that's the transition that makes him so difficult to deal with, is he's got speed and he's got a lot of transitioning moves from one type of takedown to the next, but he gets there by throwing his hands, and he throws his hands well. And I thought that, the most important thing, if Klein was going to do well in this fight, my whole thing is you have to back Gamrot up. That's going to make his takedown, his shot, more difficult. It's a lot more difficult to get your shot off if you're going backwards than if you're going forward. When you're going forward, you can set it up, in an easier fashion. It works for you. it flows, and it doesn't really flow when you're stepping backwards. It's it's more
two
difficult
different types of
situation.
wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Two different types of wrestling. Yeah.
So I thought Klein was going to have to do that, and as soon as the fight started and Gamrot started moving him backwards, I went, that's not good.
Yeah.
You need to stop that right away. And then Gamrot was able to get the takedown. But he was up on his feet for a good half of the first round. And then the takedown did what he does, and he's good. And it's not. I thought Klein did a good job of trying to neutralize the takedown, but he was never able to get himself back to his feet, really. Yeah. And the fight itself just played out time after time. I thought the third round, you finally saw Klein trying to back him up, trying to go forward, and but again, the takedown, it did happen, and as soon as it did, there was a significant difference in the wrestling between the two, and it showed. And that's
for me,
that's why Gamrot is one of the best there is in the world in the fucking weight class.
He is. People are gonna stop sleeping on him. He's one of those guys. Like his stam's not great, but neither is Arman Tsarukyan. Look where he's been. Look where he's been. Like he's at the top. He's number one contender. I know.
Let's be honest. Gamrot's got to win over Arman.
Exactly. But Arman's he's on the shit list of Dana, and so they're trying to do whatever they can to build Gamrot up, so that he can step on Arman. It just comes down to Gamrot. He has all the tools. Yeah. You just got to keep him. The one thing about Gamrot is that he realizes what he's good at. He doesn't stray away from it. And people get mad about that stuff. But guess what? Guys that have had success, whether it's pure kickboxers, which the UFC pushes, we've seen it from Conor McGregor to Alex Maheda to all the guys that are just straight kickboxers. We've seen it. They push those guys a lot faster to have success because those are the guys that draw views. But the bottom line is the people who carry this promotion day in and day out are the wrestlers. The guys that can continuously win fights are the ones that say, hey, I can carry this promotion on my back. Gamrot being one of those guys. Now, sure, you can say whatever you want about him. He's not the most exciting guy. He doesn't put plenty of fans in the seats, but he wins fights. He's beat Arman Tsarukyan. That guy's the number one contender. Stop sleeping on this dude. This dude can fight. Oh, yeah. This dude can fight. And I'm sorry, I'm going to back the wrestler almost every single time. Now, don't get me wrong. I talked about the Klein fight. I was like, man, it does scare me because Klein's one of those guys. You get into the clinch, elbows, knees. That scares me when you're talking about a wrestler because they get out of the clinch. They're like, okay, the wrestling didn't work. What do I do? And they get elbowed. Their face gets elbowed off, or they get knee to the body and they get destroyed. But this was not the situation. Gamrot struggled in some areas, but he dominated in the areas that mattered. Controlling the top position, just getting the takedowns, being able to impose his will. When you're a wrestler, that's the most important part. If I can take you down, if I can dominate the clinch and the takedown positions, it doesn't matter what I do after that, as long as you're not getting your ass back up. And for me, Klein was one of those fighters that you can't afford to take chances, John. I'm going to strike while you're trying to get a takedown. No. Defend the takedown first, then worry about the striking. There was moments there where he could have defended the takedown, try to land an elbow, led to the takedown. You're like, don't strike. Just defend the takedown. Defend. That's Anytime is so funny and I'll tell you guys this story. I had guys, Luke Rockhold being one of them, and we had other guys. People don't realize when we're talking about AKA, and I'm going to say this in the most humblest way I possibly can. There would be no AKA without me. And the reason why I say this is because Javier has made it very clear. I made sure that he trained every single fighter that was in that gym. He didn't want to train anybody that was in that gym. He didn't want to train Habib. He didn't want to train Luke Rockhold. He didn't want to train. The only person he wanted to train was me and Kane. That was it. He's like, no, I have no desire to train that. I said, no, I don't want you to train me unless you train every single person. And when that happened, it came down to every single person in that gym had to be well-rounded. So when I'm talking about guys like Klein, you have to focus on, if you're good at something, be the best at it. But also, too, when you're really good at striking, defend the takedowns. Your number one position should have been, no matter what you do, defend the takedown. I don't care what else you do after that. Do not get mixed into this whole, let me elbow a little bit and then lose the takedown and end up on my back. And that's exactly what happened. A little bit of punches, a little bit of hammer fists, a little bit of this, but you're losing the takedown. Now you're on bottom for the whole fight. We had this conversation multiple times. Anytime any of our guys was training with Khabib, Islam, Abu Bakr, these guys were studs, man. They no one knew who they were when they first came into the gym, but we knew if we lost a takedown, and Javier's like, do not lose the takedown. These guys will fucking maul you on the ground. And they were like, yeah, we're like, yeah, whatever. You know, like everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Do not lose a takedown to these guys. And that shaped us to realize like how important it was not to lose in the gym means do not lose in the fight. And it's a huge thing. If your coach is not telling you, stop losing takedowns in the gym against these guys. Obviously, Khabib ended up being bigger than we all thought he would be. but I'm just being honest. But like, John, don't lose takedowns to these guys that no one's ever heard of in the gym and expect to go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to stop this guy. I'm going to stop Gamrot from taking me down. This guy's a fucking stud. Like, what makes you think I'm going to, if I can't stop the guy in the gym, Joe Blow down the road, how am I going to stop this guy in a real fight where he's 100 miles an hour and just a stud? He understands what his game plan is. Like, that's the difference, is that where Klein he allowed like, oh, there's moments where I could stop the takedown, but let me land 1 or 2 strikes. Like, it was going to make a difference. That's a bad coaching. That's bad coaching. That's bad fight IQ. I'm sorry, but you'll never see John Jones do that. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to see a guy with a high fight IQ be like, yeah, let me land 1 or 2 strikes to try to stop the takedown. No, it doesn't work that way, man. It doesn't work that way. And that's what we saw tonight. Gamrot with the aggressiveness, the tenacity, being in shape, being the world-class fighter that he is. Klein showed tonight he's got weaknesses. Fight IQ-wise, not there. Just not there. Talented.
Yeah, I look at it. Sometimes you think you can do something, before the fight, and then during the fight you realize it's not the same as what you thought. And I think that's partly what you had here. And I thought, he'll learn from it. He's a smart fighter. He's a good fighter. Leavitt Klein he's a talented guy. Yeah. He's just not quite at that point yet. And now he's faced one of those guys that's up at the top, and now he knows.
Yeah, we talk about levels all the time, but tonight was one of those things where once the fight starts to play out in front, like you start realizing the difference between levels. As soon as the levels, like as soon as time goes on, like you're like, okay, look, they're equal for 2-3 minutes. And they're equal for like 4 or 5 minutes. And then the second round comes, and you're like, this guy's really tired. He has no technique. And the other guy's like, I'm just getting.
Well, you can talk about those. You can talk about those fights later on here because there was a couple like that.
Yeah, I mean, John, like there was a thing I saw from Gino Oriema. He's like the coach for Connecticut, the females basketball. He's like, I'm not here to coach talent. He's like, I shouldn't have to coach talent. Like, I'm not here to coach like effort, is what he was saying. Like, I already know you're talented. I don't know, like, if you're here and I have to tell you about effort, like, fuck off.
That's a problem. I'm
done. And so in this situation, like the coaches, I feel like are more responsible in terms of with Klein, like, hey, you should have known. Defend the takedown at all costs. Once we're done defending the takedown, then you let everything else go. That's a coach issue. That's not a fighter issue. And so tonight I hang more of the problem, I think, on the coaching, because there was takedowns. He was fully defended and he decided to like do one thing that he shouldn't have done that led to a takedown. And that I felt like he lost those positions because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Brahimaj versus Goff.
Dude, we talked about it. Said, look, if Reese he's been out of fighting for a lot, and I guess he's had a lot of problems and stuff. But the one thing that we know about him, like his submission game is top notch. And when he gets wins, it's usually by submission, many times in the first round. Well, hello to the new beginning, because I'll tell you what, he locked that on fast and he locked it on tight. And you look at, what he did, and that's what someone that's good, when you're good with your chokes and you understand the neck and you get that feel. And as soon as he brought his elbow up, you went, "Oh, you're in trouble, man."
Yeah.
And Goff tried to spin out, nope. Sometimes it'll work, usually against a guy that doesn't have it quite right. No. You just look at it and you go, that's what a good submission guy does. And Ramirez he's a good submission guy, man. He looked great. And that was a great performance because Billy Goff is a tough guy, and this is fighting. And I thought it was a great win for him.
Yeah, I thought Goff was gonna have a little bit more, in terms of like touch. But once you got into the clinch, like you got to stay away from that. Like you should have like kept that.
He
space.
stayed there in the clinch, because he got double unders, and I'm like, get out.
Yeah. Get out.
Get out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't realize, like, why are you putting yourself in that position?
Yeah.
Like anytime, and I'm going to throw this out here, is the Patchy Mix thing. I did a video with my buddy, and I was like, who is Patchy Mix? I want to explain to you guys. People are sleeping on him. Everyone's like, oh, it's a bad matchup for Patchy Mix.
Don't know.
John, I can't tell you. I had over 1,000 comments, people saying that it was a bad matchup for him.
Oh, good. Well, we'll see, won't we?
And I was like, okay, I get the grind situation. I understand that. But I'm like, this is where I'm at right now. Like, Ramirez is someone that he's good submission-wise. Patchy's really good submission-wise. And I know, like, people are going to talk about the whole, Patchy hasn't experienced the top-level competition. You can call it whatever you want. But the thing is, what you can experience, he's trained with he's trained with Marab. He's trained with Aljamain Sterling. He's trained with every single top level guy in Vegas. That you can't get away from that. He's put himself in those positions where he's accessible to world-class grapplers. One of his coach for a long time was Jake Shields. I'm sorry. And I've trained with Jake multiple times, like for years on end. Gosh, damn, Jake's so good.
Yeah.
Please
Basic.
do not say that like Jake Shields doesn't have a game. I mean, Jake Shields is one of the best ever to ever do it. Ever. And you're like, oh, well, Jake had 4 moves. Jake was a world-class fighter with 4 moves.
Yeah. Dude, go back and watch Jake Shields fight Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson. Okay? Dan
Henderson, the guy who fought Shogun Rua to like the greatest fights probably ever in MMA history.
The guy who fucking knocks out Vanderlei Silva. The guy who's just, is a legend. And go watch Jake Shields lose the first round and then absolutely destroy.
John, he got his ass beat.
I said, lose, dramatically in the first round and then come back and destroy Dan for 4 rounds. And you look and you go, man, he was so basic, but so damn good.
Look, I've trained with Jake so many damn times, and I can tell you, like, I've seen progressions of him being like, sure, he's good. Like, he's, like, talented, like, get on top, smash you. No real threat of, like, whatever it is. Like, he couldn't finish anything. But then there was moments where I'm like, damn, I can't move. I can't move without you catching me in something.
His damn guillotine.
His arm and guillotine.
Fucking good.
Yeah, his arm and guillotine, his arm and guillotine hook sweep, right to the front guillotine sweep, like choke, very much like Luke Rockhold. Like, I've trained with both those guys, and I'm like, damn, you guys, nothing you guys are doing is next level jiu-jitsu.
No,
I've seen them train with guys like Leo Vieira, Lucas Lage, Buchecha, Lapella, like Paulito, like guys that, like, in terms of jiu-jitsu world, like, these guys are really good. I've seen him train.
They're all world champions.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, like, how are you guys not giving these guys credit? And Patchy Mix trains with Cabrino. Cabrino's one of the best guys ever. His only losses in jiu-jitsu, like World League in terms of worlds, was to Rafa Mendez, a 5-time world champion. And that's his only, like, one of his main training partners, one of his coaches before he started training with Jake and other guys was him. Like, I'm sorry, but that's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys, especially at a lighter weight, at 145 pounds, 147 pounds, whatever the weight class is for whatever it is. like training with him is fantastic, man. The guy's got one of the best gyms in Vegas, right down the street from, by the way, his manager, Ali. It's like literally right where it's called Buffalo Street. Is it called Buffalo Street in Vegas?
Yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah, he's right there off of Buffalo Street. Like his gym is right there. Like, and that's where Patchy's gone down, trained. Like these guys, Patchy's whole life is about training. His girlfriend is all wrestling and jiu-jitsu. His fiance, girlfriend, whatever. Like his whole life revolves around being a submission guy. This fight with Batista is a very tough fight for Batista.
But he's not. Well, and here's where you take a look at the difference in the fight, and you sit there and you go, on the feet, who's better? Is Batista better than him? Not now. He's not better.
People are saying that, John.
Okay, that's fine. We'll find out. He's not better than him. I'm not saying that they're not equal. I think they're pretty equal on the feet.
They're both not great,
but Patchy's gotten way better, and now he's using his length a lot more.
Yeah.
So he's unusual for the size, his frame and his size for the bantamweight division. It's unusual.
5'11" for 135 pounds is remarkable.
So now Batista gets to the point of, let's get to the ground. Does he have a submitter's chance against Patchy Mix? No, he doesn't. He's not going to be able to pull off. But does Patchy Mix have a submitter's chance against Batista? Yes. So there's danger for one fighter for the most part, unless Patchy got rocked. I don't see where the danger comes from. Mario Batista, who I think is a phenomenal, young fighter, he's going to be fighting for his life on the ground, especially if he's underneath.
Yeah,
he's in trouble.
Georgie, show me what you just drank. Is that a big gulp? I haven't seen a big gulp since fucking like 1995.
7-Eleven,
really?
baby.
They still make those big gulps?
No, I went back in time.
I can see that with that beard and everything else. I feel like you did go back in time.
No, they make big gulps still.
Yeah, they still make big gulps.
Damn straight, man.
I
They
saw you
super
take
gulps.
a drink, and then I saw you go like this with your beard.
Yeah, I was
My dad
checking
used to do
myself
that.
out.
My dad had like one of those long, like ZZ Top beards.
Oh, did he have one
My
of
dad had
ZZ?
like a long beard. Yeah.
Did he used
I
to
used to
grab it like
laugh.
this?
I've just gotten to the point that when I eat, the little corners go into my mouth and
No,
bite
that's
them
the
on
worst.
accident. I
You
don't
gotta
like
trim
it.
it, brother. You gotta trim it.
No, I look handsome.
There you go. He looks handsome.
Is that what you call it?
You
Love
don't
it.
take,
You are
take
kind
that
of a
shit
good
from
looking son of a
him.
bitch.
Dude, look at you. You're a monster there, George. You just stay there. You're doing
It's the
fine.
tattoos. The tattoos make you feel like you're bigger than you are. Are those MS-13 tattoos?
Oh,
Are
damn.
we
Look at you
importing
now.
you here soon?
I'm in the LAPD.
Notice how he moved
games.
his knuckles off camera?
I'm in the LAPD game.
He's like, yo, I got you right here.
Oh, bam.
Yeah, no tattoos, man. I got no tattoos on my body. Yeah, I say you
a
don't put a
temple.
bumper sticker on a Bentley.
Do you know why he has no tattoos on his
You don't
body,
put a bumper
George?
sticker on a Bentley. That's why.
Well, first off, if you had a Bentley, I would
you have
say you're right. You
tattoos.
should have put
have
a bumper
tattoos.
sticker on it. I got a lot of tattoos.
Yeah. See, trailer park.
Oh, I am, dude. Fucking white trash. Dude, white trash has
It's
been
what?
part of my whole makeup. I used to drive a fucking lifted up Jeep,
I do
and
too.
the fucking
That does not
license-
make me white trash because I drive the lifted up Jeep.
the license plate bracket on it said, "Don't ask, just white trash."
It's so, isn't it great that we can all admit it? The sad part is that I'm not white. I'm actually Mexican. So that's the other part. So when everyone's like, yeah, you're white trash. It's so funny because when I lived in San Jose, on the east side of San Jose, I'm half Mexican, half Native American, plus like a little bit of like Scottish Dutch.
Well, hold on. What Native American?
Yucky Indian. My grandfather was full-blooded Yucky Indian.
Yucky.
Yucky Indian, yeah.
Yaki.
Yaki.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said yucky.
It's Yaki Indian.
Yeah.
You misunderstood me.
I got the same thing. I got Cherokee.
Oh, Cherokee? That's not the same.
No, I
Well, I
actually
get it.
live now in the area where my peoples was at.
No, my grandfather was full-blooded Yaqui Indian. And then my grandmother was Spanish Mexican, so she was like from Spain, green eyes, light hair, but she was Mexican, but she's from Spain. Like her family was from Spain. She was born and raised in Mexico. And then she came over to the States. But yeah, they were together. My grandfather, he looked straight up just pretty much. People ask me all the time. He's super dark. He's black, pretty much black. Like you see pictures of my grandfather, he looks like he's either black or he's like Indian from India, like super dark. And then my grandmother, really light skin with green eyes. Yeah, I didn't get the green eye thing. I was praying that my kids would, but they didn't get it either. And my dad had blonde hairs. He's from Scottish Dutch. I was hoping because my dad had crystal blue eyes. I was hoping my kids would get crystal blue eyes. No, didn't work out. And my grandmother had green eyes. And like a lot of my aunts and uncles have green eyes. My mom has brown eyes. I was like, damn it.
My mom
Could you be the one that had the green eyes so we could get that transferred over to us? I just knew I'd be like dealing with danger with my daughter. If she had green eyes, I'd be totally fucked. My daughter. My son he's a good looking son of a bitch. A little kid. My boy. My daughter is too, but
both of them are, yeah.
They're both of them. But my boy is like he's just has that like little bit of look at him, like he has a little swagger to him. He's also older. My daughter just has the like yeah. If she had green eyes, it didn't matter what else she had, she'd be fucking just killing me. I'd be like, yeah, you know,
you lost your mind. Your daughter is so damn cute.
She's adorable.
She's adorable.
You know, because you had her at the farm. Fuck,
she's a hellion.
I'm totally fucked.
Oh, you are. which only brings joy to me.
I know it does. Hey, all you dads out there that listen to our podcast, just know that I'm human, and I just have these thoughts and this whole thing that goes through my mind. Like my daughter's 6, and she's just. Man, like I got videos. Like I would love to like send it to George. He could put it on the pod, but she's like doing dances with her girlfriends tonight at the pool and all this. I'm like, Jesus, really? Come on, really? I gotta deal with this shit already. She's like she's like singing songs in the car, and I'm just like, gosh, man, already they like her and her girlfriends at school already have these dances and all this other stuff. Anyways. All right, well, hey, let's go ahead and get in Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopes.
Dude, Dustin looked good, man. You know, this is what Dustin does. Dustin's always been a good kickboxer. Mm-hmm. You know, guy who fought kickboxing in glory and stuff like that, but never was that. You know, he's not the one punch knockout guy. And this right here was exactly what you're looking for from Dustin. Land the good shot. Wobble him a little bit and then freaking get after him and put him away. And that's what he did. And he looked great doing it. That was a great win for Dustin. I've always enjoyed Dustin. He's a hell of an athlete. You know, he was a quarterback in high school. He's talking about playing golf with DC now. So, he'll smoke. Trust me, he'll smoke DC in golf.
DC will just literally be like, yeah, I'm good. And then you play with him for like 5 or 6 rounds, like 5 or 6 holes. And he's like, oh, sorry, I gotta go. I'm losing. Yeah, he's just the worst, man.
But I thought Dustin Jacoby looked really good,
DC owes me like fucking $150 from golf.
You'll never get it.
No, I'll never get it. He owes me so much money, John. Like it's ridiculous. Like he won't even pick up my texts or my call because he knows he owes me money. Yeah, I just talked to my buddy Bob Cook yesterday. We're having a conversation. I was like, hey, like, what's going on with D and what's going on with Luke? Have you guys talked to him? I haven't talked to Luke in a couple months. And he's like, yeah, I talked to Luke the other day. And I was like, all right, cool. He's like, yeah, DC, DC owes us money. That's where it's at. Like, that's the thing. DC owes me money, man. DC owes me golf money. I know he owes Scott Coker money too. This guy, he don't pay up his, but he wants his money as soon as he beats you. Hey man, don't leave without paying me, bro. You owe me so much money. It's crazy. DC owes. If you guys are fans of this show, cut this clip, send it to DC. Be like, yo, you owe Josh like I think he owes me 50, probably $50, maybe a little bit more, but he owes me $50. $50. This guy,
$50. That's a steak dinner.
Smoked. He left on the turn, by the way, at the 9th hole because I was smoking him by so much. We only did 9 holes. He already owed me $50. He would have owed me another 50, maybe even more than that, had we continued to play. Yeah. Anyways. Whether you're an Olympic athlete, professional hockey player, MMA world champion, or just an active kid, LMNT helps anyone stay hydrated. Each stick pack delivers a meaningful dose of electrolytes free of sugar, artificial colors, or other dodgy ingredients. Get your free sample pack with any LMNT drink mix purchase through link in bio. Also try the new LMNT Sparkling, a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water. Roll, train, ride, or play, but stay hydrated and stay salty. All right, Vieira versus Chiasson.
Macy Chiasson. I was shocked. Josh, I was absolutely shocked when I looked and Macy Chiasson was the favorite in this fight. I was like, what are they thinking? You know, Kaylin Vieira has fought way better competition throughout her career. And I'm looking going, where is it that Macy Chiasson is a better fighter than Kaylin Vieira? I didn't see it. So I was like, man, if you're going to bet a fight, I'll take Kaylin Vieira right now as the dog.
Yeah.
She went out there for the one thing about Kaylin, she slows down, but for the 2 rounds, she looked really good. The 3rd round, I like that, Macy was trying to come on, but she didn't, it wasn't close to her finishing anything up, and Kaylin Vieira takes the victory. And the real question was the weight. She did miss weight. Macy went up, because they fought it at featherweight because Caitlin was going to miss weight. So it wasn't a bantamweight fight. It was a featherweight fight.
And then Reese versus Dusko.
Dusko. Yeah, this is one of those ones you're looking and
how'd you have it scored?
I had it 29-28.
This way, though? You had Dusko losing?
Yeah, Dusko losing.
Ooh, close fight, though.
Yeah, it was, but the problem was he kept getting hit with the harder shots, and then he would take time off, and then he would do something.
Yeah.
And then he would take time off again.
I can see that.
And Josh, to me, it looked like, and this is where, I was talking, he was tired. Both of them got tired. He tired himself out with the wrestling, and he got to the point where he was so tired that it was like he can't be offensive. He was trying to catch his win, and when he was trying to catch his win, he wasn't offensive.
John? We have discussions about this on the judging.
Yeah,
should you judge it based on how somebody looks in terms of fatigue?
Fatigue is an element of damage.
I'm tired. It had nothing to do with whether you tire me. I don't know. I'm just fucking lazy and didn't do cardio. Like it can be looked at it that way, correct?
Hold on. It is. That's fine. It's still, fatigue is an element of damage. It can be caused by multiple ways. It can be caused by blows that are landed. Okay. But if you get to the point where... But it has to
be caused by my opponent, not because I was lazy as fuck and didn't do my cardio.
You would hope.
Right? Like...
You would hope.
In this situation, it seemed like it was more because he just...
Come on, hold on. Stop. You've seen guys that, they come out...
Trevor Prangley.
Absolutely, one of the most perfect examples. And, you look at a guy who was really talented, but man, it wasn't always that he was so tired. He just looked so tired.
Yeah. Sucked. He lost the Jeremy Horn fight because he looked tired. I feel like he beat Jeremy Horn that night. He just fucking looked so exhausted. I'm like, what the fuck happened to you? Yeah. He's like, I was so tired. I'm like, dude, all you have to do is look like you were spry. Like, look like bounce. Take a step like you would have won that fucking fight. Nope. Just couldn't nut up and do. I trust me. He lived with me for the longest time. We've been best friends he was the best man at my wedding. Yeah, man, we wrestled together in college at North Idaho College, and just fuck. It killed me to see him be the way he was. I was like,
he could wrestle.
Killing me. He could fuck. He was the only reason why he was never a national champion was because he tore his knee out in the finals of the tournament. He fucking ended up losing the national championship because he was up playing 6-2 in the third and fucking tore his knee out in the third. I'm like, can you get back out there and just fucking keep wrestling until the fucking round's over? Like, just lay there. Don't do anything. He's like, he was in such pain. Like, you're such a pussy. But I loved him to death. He just
he's a good man.
Time. Like he was one of those guys that couldn't mask how tired he was. And I'm like, I wanted to kill him, man. I wanted to kill him. He was one of those guys. Loved him to death. He's my brother, obviously. Yep. And I've had these. Everything I'm telling you guys, don't think I haven't told him to his face. So don't think I'm like some piece of shit. Like I literally tell my that's that here. You guys want to know why I'm called the Punk? Every single thing I've said about Khabib, anything I've said ever to DC or Luke or whatever it is, Javier Mendez, like I've said to their face, I've said it. Like, I don't like the way you coach me. I don't like the way you do this. Bob Cook, I don't like the way you manage me. I want you to do this, this, and this. DC, I think you're lazy in this, this, and this. I've said it to their face. And then that's why I've got the name the Punk. Like, people can criticize me all they want. Do you think I haven't heard the shit that comes out of you guys when I read the comments? I love reading the comments, by the way. It's all shit I've fucking heard already from somebody else. And from the person I've told to their face that I don't feel like, hey, you're dogs, you're lazy, you're this, you're that. Like literally, like DC, one of the fights, I think he fought Roy Nelson. 2 weeks before the fight, he's drinking a mimosa at fucking not mimosa. What's it called? What's the drink with the mint in it? Mojito. He's drinking a fucking mojito before he fights. 2 weeks before he fights Roy Nelson. I'm like, dude, you got to fight in 2 weeks. Didn't care. I'm drinking them. He's just drinking. We're at what's it called? Buffalo Bills. Is it Buffalo Bills? What's the place that shows the fights?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings. We're there. We're hosting it. They paid us to be there. We're having a great time. Love Buffalo Bills or Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever it was. But we had a great time there, man. It was awesome. It was me, him, Koscheck, all three of us. They paid us all to be there. This dude's 2 weeks before his fight. I'm literally like trying to get out of it before the main event because I'm like, I gotta go home and get some rest. This dude's in there drinking. Comes out like Kung Fu Panda the next day, like no big deal. Drinking fucking mojitos, having fried chicken wings. Fuck, John. I hate guys like him.
Heavyweight, baby.
I hate guys like him. I fucking hate it. Fucking, that's like George walking around all the time, just fucking looking shredded and ripped, and then eating fucking Buffalo Wild Wings every day. I hate it. I hate it. Anyways, love our boys, though. Love them. But just so you guys know, anything I've ever said on this podcast, I've already had conversations about with my boys. And they call me the Punk for a reason. Any other fights on here you want to talk about?
I thought the Alan Nascimento versus Jafel Filho fight was actually, entertaining. I thought Filho kind of let it slide, or that Nascimento was just so good as far as his control when he got on top. He couldn't do anything with it, but, he stole that win. But you talk about a flyweight. He was as tall as DC.
Yeah.
You take it like DC's what, 5'9"?
Did you say flyweight?
Flyweight.
Where?
What do you mean where?
I don't see flyweight anywhere on this card, John.
Yeah, they weighed 127, I want to say.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
They might have put it up to bantamweight, but he's a flyweight.
Yeah, 128 catch weight.
Yeah.
It was a good fight. It was definitely a good fight. Leavitt had a good fight. Oki's built like a fucking brick shit house.
So, yeah.
Took a fight on short notice.
You got to give Aswell took the fight on short notice.
Yeah.
And Oki,
Sorry, Aswell too. Yeah.
Yeah. Aswell fought his ass off. A different weight class. He went, up in weight to, to take the fight. And you got to give him credit, man. He fought his ass off.
John, the very first fight of the night was Dos Santos versus Ardelean.
Mm-hmm.
That fight to me, like to see, like Alice Ardelean, I guess, apparently went through some drama at her gym where they gave her the boot out of the gym because she had a fat ass. She's the girl they kicked out of the gym because the wives of the fighters she was training with didn't like her because she had a fat ass. She was the distraction. So she decided to join OnlyFans because she had no way of making money. She lost her first fight in the UFC. So then she basically turned around. She turned that money into like $1 million a year. She's crushing it on OnlyFans, which we just so happen to be working with in terms of partnership. And this is a good segue into that. Is subscribe to us over there. But the thing is, John, she fought in the end of the third round. She threw probably about 40 punches in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's a lot of damage to do. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to throw shots when you're pretty much already up in the scorecards. It was 29-28. It was basically even. It was both 1-1 first, 1-1 the second. It was one of those fights in the third round where you had to go out there and grit it out. And when you realize like you're making $1 million a year, you don't need to dig deep. You're like, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. She fucking dug deep, and she came out with the win. I'm sorry, but I have to respect whoever that is, whether they're making their money on OF, whether they're fucking doing whatever it is. This female, she fucking laid it on the line. I thought it was a great fight. I was watching it, not really paying attention. I actually went back through, and people were hitting me up in the comments going like, hey man, this is a really good fight. And I went back and watched the whole fight. I'm like, damn, this girl dug deep when she didn't have to. She's making $1 million a year. If I was making $1 million a year, I'd be like, yeah, fuck this fight business. Fuck, John, you know, like fighters do that shit these days. Yeah. We can't even get John Jones to come out of fucking retirement to fight one of the guys in the heavyweight division. Like, really, what are we doing? This girl's making $1 million a year, but yet she dug deep in the third round. In the first fight of the night when there's no crowd there, I tip my hat to her. Absolutely tip my hat to her. Going like, great job. Great fight. Great job. And arguably you could say in her first, was it her first fight? First fight in the UFC?
No,
she got robbed. No, this was not. I know, but her first fight in the UFC, most people, from what as I recall, maybe I'm wrong, most people think she got robbed in that first fight in the UFC. Yeah. So sorry, not her last fight. She just won this fight. Her first fight in the UFC, Edwards, Muhammad, and then Hernandez. So one of these fights, I believe it was Melissa Martinez. People thought she got robbed. She got robbed in that. Sorry, that must have been the first fight. Shauna Bandon. They're like, she should have won that fight. So she should really be 2-1 pretty much. Now she's 1-2 in the UFC. Bottom line is she looked great in the third round. I tip my hat to her for digging deep when she didn't need to. When I'm cashing out, making $1 million a year, like a lot of these fighters are not making $1 million a year, John. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And the fact that she dug deep the way she did, and if you go back and watch the last 20 seconds of that fight, she's pushing the pace. She's got a smile on her face doing damage. And I'm like, you're the opening fight in front of fucking nobody. Nobody's watching you fight. Like, I literally just turned it on because I'm like, my son just got done playing lacrosse. I'm in the car. I got it mounted on my car like thing. I'm like, I'm watching because we do the show. Nobody else is watching her fucking lay it on the line. I was like, good for you. Good for you, girl. Like, I was impressed, man. Very impressed, to be honest. All right. I mean, like, I don't want to toot her horn too much because, but I'm simply saying I was very impressed. The UFC's missing that these days. Like, let's be honest. Like, we're missing that kind of drive.
Yeah, you've been saying that. You've been saying that for a little bit here.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. That kind of heart, that kind of, you know what? I'm not stopping. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to bite down. Every time it happens, you look and you go, way to go, man.
Absolutely. I have to be a fan of that, man. Yeah. I came from that dog era. Like, that's funny. I had a guy, I posted something about, John, you can take a dig at me all you want. I'm gonna take a dig at myself. So I posted something about the Chandler situation. Chandler said something to about Connor, and it was just one of those things. I said, like, so does this mean we're not going to see you at the top, like about Chandler? And somebody posted, like, obviously several people posted about, like, oh, we've never seen you at the top, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. It doesn't bother me. Like, people don't realize that shit doesn't bother me. It just comes down to I have to create activity in this thing. I have to talk about this sport because this sport is all I have. Like, this sport is all like a lot of these fighters have in terms of wanting to be part of it.
One of the things here that you're completely off topic now. Thank you very much.
I want you to be off topic, John, because that's what our show lacks these days.
Hold on.
Is that we have so many stories, we lack the off topic stuff.
Have you seen a documentary called Iron Cowboy?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And this is where, it's so weird that when you've been, in the public eye and social media the way it is today and everything, you have to learn to, I could give a shit what someone thinks about me.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't like me. Don't like me. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. You're saying the same thing. And this guy, this Iron Cowboy, this guy is a triathlete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Josh, he came up with the idea. Think about this. Okay. Because it's fucking nuts. He's going to do 50 Ironman triathlete races in 50 states in 50 days. Okay. That means for 50 days, you are swimming 2.4 miles, you're biking 112 miles, and you're running a 26.2 marathon every fucking day for 50 days straight. And you're traveling from state to state, which means you got to figure to do a fucking triathlon, in a good time, you're looking at over 12 hours, right? That's half the day. You've got to then do publicity stuff. You've got to sleep. You got to travel, all these things with that extra 12 hours. It's fucking inhuman when you think about what the human body is going through to do this. And there's people, out there, he's taking an IV and they're saying, you're cheating. It's PEDs and things like, and I'm like, have you people fucking lost your mind? Well, it got to the fucking point where this guy got so freaking inundated with people, bad mouthing him that, it affected him because he wasn't used to it. He's not used to it. And you look and you go, son, he had a daughter that he's got 5 kids, and all of his kids were with him in a motorhome doing this thing for the 50 days. And he's got this whole support team and everything. But, one of his daughters, her thing was that she would run the final 5 kilometers of every, marathon with him.
Awesome.
And that was her thing. And, and I'm sitting there saying, just think of your fucking daughter. That's all that matters, that your daughter has a goal. Her goal is that, your goal is the 50. Her goal is to run the 5 kilometers with you. That's who you care about.
That's all I care about.
Oh yeah. And but you look and you go, you got to learn these things. You have to learn, what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets to that point where they think that, I hope people like me. And then when someone does it and they start saying bad stuff on social media, here it comes, man. And it's like, you're your own worst enemy. The fact that you're actually paying attention to it.
No, it's, what it is that we don't want to make everyone happy because we know that's not possible. But what we want to do is we want people to to see things from our point of view. And once you realize you can't do that, you can't make everyone, let alone a percentage of them, I would say you can't make 50% of them see from your point of view. All I care about in life, John, I'm only speaking this way, honestly. I lost my stepmom literally less than a week ago. I lost my grandmother today. And literally within a week period, I lost both of them. It's my last grandparent that I ever have. I'll never have. My kids will never see ever.
She was 95, right?
She was 96. Yeah.
96.
And then,
dude, she's a winner.
Great grandmother.
She's a winner.
She lived a great life. But I lost I lost somebody who I call her my stepmom, but she's not really my stepmom. She was one of my best friends' mothers in high school. I don't talk to my best friend at all anymore. I talk to his mom and his dad more than I talk to him. It's been 30 years. I went to high school. They pretty much helped me through everything. I went to jail for 6 months, as you would say. And they took me in on a work furlough type program because they own a couple businesses that I used to work for in high school. And they put me on their payroll so I could do work for them to make sure that I didn't have to be in jail the whole time. They took care of me beginning to end. Every single time when my kids were born, when my kids had birthdays, I got a present for my kids every single time from them. And she passed last week suddenly of a heart attack. People don't realize, I'm not here to argue with people. I'm not here. I read the comments because I enjoy spending time with people. I love banter back and forth because that's who I am built inside. I don't take life serious. I want people that listen to our show not to take life serious. I don't want people to take any of what we do serious. This is a sport that I love talking about. I'll never stop talking about it. But life is too short. Like, I've lost 2 people in less than a week. Just take time, man. Take time to enjoy your time with your family, your friends, whatever it is. It's very important. So, look, I literally, like I said the thing about Chandler. I said, does this mean we won't see you at the top, Chandler? And somebody goes, wow, well, we'll never see you at the top. You got 10-8. You got 10-8 by Ariel Helwani. I love Ariel, man. People want to talk to me about Ariel Helwani. Like, people think that I have something against Ariel. I love Ariel. Ariel, to me, has been great for the sport. He's done a great job. He's fucked things up in the sport too, but he's also been great for the sport. And people can talk about whatever they want. He does his job. And that's why he got fired from the UFC, is because fucking he did his job. And not just him, but then the ESPN thing. Like, I thought he fumbled the bag on the ESPN thing, but now he's also got to deal with the Yahoo Sports or whatever it is he's doing now. Good for him. I'm not here to knock somebody when they're on their up. I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about everybody. I love fighters. I love athletes. I love the guys in our sport, 100%, all of them. I know people think I have a thing against MMA Guru. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I love everything he does. He talks about us. We talk about him. We give him banter. All that does is build each other up. I love my boy Brendan Schaub. I know a lot of you guys hate Brendan Schaub. I don't give a fuck what you guys hate. I love Brendan Schaub. I love Brian Callen. I love Joe Rogan. I love the guys that bring spotlight to our sport. John, you've been on Joe Rogan. I've been on Joe Rogan. Joe, to me, is one of the fucking most humblest guys with the biggest fucking following in the world. How the fuck am I going to say something that says that he doesn't like respect what we do or say this or that? I'm sorry. I have nothing negative to say about any of those dudes. So I just wanted to get all this out here. It's something that's been on my mind lately about the sport of MMA and where we're at right now on this platform. There's a lot of people, and not just a lot of people, but like I've had conversations like the sport's in a bad place. It's in a bad place. I think what it is in a bad place because we don't have stars, we don't have athletes, and what it is we have fighters making business decisions. And they're and I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. Are you opposed to that?
No, as long as it's a smart business decision. Yeah.
But John, like we're talking about business decisions. But I talked with Bob Cook. I talked with Rich Chow. I talked to a lot of other managers and athletes and former fighters and all these other things. What's happening is there's nowhere for you guys to go. So stop acting like you guys have some say in what's going on as athletes. Like, you either want to fight in the UFC or you don't, because you're not going to the PFL. You're not going to Bellator. There's no Bellator anymore. It's gone. So you're not going to PFL. Where are you going to go? Fury. I love Fury. Fury does a great job. LFA does a great job. But where are you guys going to go? Stop pretending like you guys got places to go. Stop turning fights down. Like I'm having conversations with managers and they're like, man, my fighters are turning fights down. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why?
Like, why and where? Like, they're like, oh, in the UFC. I'm like, dude, where are you going to go? Look what's going on with the number one guy in the world, Arman Tsarukyan. Do you think, John, I guess George, this will be one of those clips where we talk about the sport of MMA. And the sport of MMA right now is in a position where we have to decide that where does it grow from here, John? Like, the only time the UFC has ever been great is when they had competition. They have no competition now. There is no competition. The only time the UFC's ever been great is when Forrest and Stephan made it great. That to me is when they made it great. That was the moment when it really catapulted itself into being a great sport. It was always a great sport, John. We're nerds.
That was when the let's say the average person that didn't watch the sport all of a sudden kind of went, hey.
Yeah, because we're nerds. But like we're nerds because we loved Hoist, we loved Vitor Belfort, we loved Vitor is the reason why I'm a fan. So when people talk to me about, like, I see people in the comments going, Vitor, you're a hater, and I saw Michael Bisping whole breakdown about how he lost the eye because of Vitor, but Vitor deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was against Vitor being in the Hall of Fame based on the steroid stuff and all these other things, but Vitor is the reason why I watched the sport. You know what I mean? Like, John, I was fascinated by the fact that he was so explosive, so dynamic, so fast hands, the way he beat Vanderlei Silva. And I was like, gee, this guy's scary. Like, all of those things. I admired the sport at a young age, but it never grew until Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner. Let's just be real. It was not.
No, that was
world class.
That was the start of the explosion.
Exactly. But then we get to the next level. What's the next level? The next level is when they bought Pride.
It's always been the step up levels when they acquire another promotion.
Yes. And the thing is, right now, they're not in a position
that's because of things you're talking about. That's throwing in a mix of new blood. Opens it up.
And I said that, a month ago? I said, look, the only time they've ever been, where there's ever been an explosion in the sport, has been Forrest and Stephen, when they bought Pride, when they bought Strikeforce. They're in the position to buy PFL and Bellator, whatever it is, whatever you want to fucking call it now these days.
Can't.
But they shouldn't, though. They shouldn't buy it, John. What they should do is wait for the spillover, the Patchy Mix, the Yaroslav Amislav, who's out there right now. Johnny Eblin's going to probably fall off and, basically like become like other fighters. I'm not even saying those guys specifically. There's guys, though, that you can put a shot in the arm in the division to really explode the sport. Right now, they don't have those guys.
No,
they don't have them. And every time you have bought a group of fighters and brought them in that's when you've got the biggest views. You know what's made them? This is what I've said. I talked to Bob Cook the other day. I said, you know what's made the UFC great is competition. Competition's what's made them great. When people want to know when Floyd Mayweather was going to fight Pacquiao, when who would win, Cain Velasquez versus Fedor Emelianenko, like people wanted to know. They wanted to know who was going to win. They want to know who the best guy was in that weight class. Whatever, it was the competition that made that happen.
Always is.
Right now, they don't have it. There's no competition.
Why is it that you'll see a McDonald's and a Burger King goes in right across the street?
Love it.
A lot of people sit there and go, that's crazy. No, it's good. It's competition, and it's actually good for both businesses. And I agree with you. The one of the problems for the UFC right now is there is a lack of competition. The lowest lack that there's been since, man, it's down there with.
There's never been this lack of competition in the whole sport in terms of, unless you're talking about like when they first started, there was no competition.
That's about it. That's what I was thinking.
Like, fuck, that's cockfighting. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm not spending money on building that. Like, what the fuck is that? There's no competition. They're like, no one wants to invest money. This is the worst time in our sport right now. I almost feel like the UFC, they either need to release the reins and be like, yeah, we want to inspire more competition. So then we have people to be like, hey, we can steal their fighters, their top world-class fighters. But right now, people are trying to leave PFL so they can go to the UFC. That's not competition. That's no different than the fucking LFA and the PFL and the whatever else the fucking organization you want to call it. We're lacking. All the drama was, can Tyrone Woodley beat whoever the champion was? Robbie Lawler ended up becoming champion. But I mean, like, could Josh Thompson and Gilbert Melendez beat the lightweight champion? Could Luke Rockhold beat the champion at 185? Could DC beat Cain Velasquez? Like, even though they were teammates, that kind of like those were comments that were brought up, and we're lacking that right now. People want to know what's wrong with the sport right now. That's what's wrong with the sport, John. Am I wrong, or am I just fucking just spouting off because everyone thinks I just spout off because I'm the punk?
Well, I'm going to go with you're spouting off, but no, okay. You're spouting off with truth. It is the real problem that I see. The multiple problems is, first off, lack of competition that's out there that people then, especially the people that really start to get into the sport, they start looking not only at the UFC, but they'll watch other fight promotions and they'll talk about other stars in those promotions. And hey, how would they do? That was, Igor Vovchanchin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people don't know who he was, Ukrainian, you know, crazy kickboxer in Pride. But, you know, at the time, you know, the question was, hey, can Igor Vovchanchin, who is winning all of these 8-man tournaments everywhere, you know, could he beat Mark Coleman, who was then the UFC super fight champion, you know? And then it just built with the Pride and everything as far as, you know, you had a lot of guys, Mark Coleman being one of them, Mark Kerr, all these guys from the UFC going to Pride. And then it was all of a sudden this guy named Fedor. Hey, could Fedor, you know, would Fedor, you know, is anybody in the UFC able to beat Fedor? And the, you know, the real consensus was no. Let's be honest. At the time, you know, you had guys like Rico Rodriguez. Rico went to Pride and fought. He fought against Nogueira. He actually won, but they didn't give him the win. But you take a look and you go, all right, you had Rico Rodriguez who had beaten Randy Couture for the title. And, you know, he was the champion for a little bit. Then Tim Sylvia comes and beats Rico. And then, you know, Frank Mir comes and beats Tim Sylvia. And could any of those guys, you know, beat Fedor Emelianenko? And the real consensus was no. You know, no one thought so. But it didn't matter that you said no or I don't think so. You didn't know. And the fact was that since they weren't fighting, it was that sustained question that kept coming up. And that brings interest. It brings interest in the sport. You know, not just in a promotion, the entire sport, which is out there. And unfortunately right now, you've got some really good promotions. You've got KSW that is solid, but it's more of a one country promotion being Poland.
But still exciting as fuck. They're one of the best promotions to watch.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
They put on a hell of a show, super entertaining. You've got Brave that's in, you know, Africa and the Middle East at times. Okay. They're putting on some good, you know, shows. You got Ryzen.
They sell out every time. Locally,
they sell. You know, Ryzen in Japan is, you know, coming back a little bit and, you know, trying to branch out a little bit. One has really turned into not MMA.
No.
One has really turned into, you know, a kickboxing, Muay Thai with small gloves organization. That's okay. You know, but there are some good, you know, organizations out there, but they're not competition in any fashion. Even with their fighters, which the UFC takes, you know, they're not competition for the UFC.
No, they're not. But I think ultimately what you have to get down to is that when you start a promotion here in the States, you have to make sure that you realize what your market is. A lot of these promotions that are starting, like they don't realize what their market is. They're trying to create a promotion based around, I want someone from Japan. I want someone from Dagestan. No. If you're in the U.S. market, make a U.S. market promotion. I'm sorry, but like I've been in business in this fight business for a long time. John, if you're doing fights in North America, build around North American fighters, Canadian, American, whatever it is. And then as you get bigger, build on beyond that. But right now, they're trying to build on, be like, I want an Irish fighter. I want a UK fighter. I want a Paris fighter. No one gives a fuck in the U.S. They barely care about their own people, let alone other people from other countries. Yeah. Build your promotion from the ground up. Let me give you a little tidbit. If you're a promoter, look, Karate Combat. I love what they were doing. They're in some drama right now, like $250, almost $300,000, $400,000 with the fucking lawsuits. Yep. They're in trouble. I wanted them to be around. I love what they're doing. You know, I was pitching for not in Karate Combat, but I was pitching for me to fight like Nate Diaz, and there was a little bit of back and forth about Nate Diaz and I fighting. A little bit. Nothing like, hey, sign the contract. But I was like, hey, that's a great fight for us to just see what happens in boxing only. We can't seem to get it off the ground because no one cares about fighting. No, like they've lost interest in fighting. I don't know what that's from, John. Is that from a flood of the UFC market? Is that from the lack of interest from the fans in terms of pay-per-view? Is it because the TV industry right now is totally fucked and turned upside down?
That's a huge part of it.
It's a combination of, I think, everything all together.
Absolutely. I think you also, you know, let's be honest, lack of stars, both in boxing and in MMA, and a lack of performance. at, for a certain
That's a fighter problem.
Absolutely, for a certain amount of time. Take a look at the last pay-per-view in boxing. Take a look at the last couple. And you look and you go, those were shit fights. Devin Haney's fight, shit fight.
Devin Haney sucks.
Canelo's fight, shit fight.
Yeah.
And you look and you go, man, you guys are not helping yourselves.
No.
You're putting on a performance like that someone's paying for. No, man, you got problems.
How can I pay you $35 million and you put on a performance like that? Show me like you really want it. Give me the Roberto Durans. Like you talk about like Kelvin Gastelum being like your Roberto Duran. Like I want those kind of guys. And we lack those. And here's the other thing is when you have the guys that are like a Dustin Poirier, which I'm fucking one of the biggest fans of Dustin. But you have guys like Dustin Poirier and like guys that are supposed to be coming up can't beat the old dogs, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. They can't get past them. Those guys have been ranked in the top 3 or 4 for fucking 4 or 5 years. Why can't the younger guys beat them? Because they don't have the dog in them. They're a bunch of fucking pussies. And people can quote me on this. They can take this clip and they can spread it all around. The bottom line is you got guys like Dustin, Justin, and Charles Oliveira that are fucking whooping these young kids' asses because they're all making business decisions. They're all weak. That's the problem. You got guys, and I love Arman Sarukian. He made a business decision when he decided to pull out. And the UFC's making him pay for it. And even when he comes back, like I just don't, he'll never be that name. Like look at what's his name? Patty. He goes, I don't want to fight him. He's not a big enough name. I'll take Justin Gaethje. I'm like, damn, dude, this dude to me, I wasn't a Patty Pimblett fan. Obviously, until after he beat fucking Chandler. I'm a huge fan now. But after that, he's calling out Justin Gaethje, the guy who's the human highlight reel, the guy that just fucking slumps people over, knocks them the fuck out. He's calling that dude out over the number 1 contender. There's a reason. He's calling him out because like, yo, that guy has the name. That guy's going to put fucking fans, put butts in the seats. He's the one that's going to get me, people to know who I am if I do beat him. Arman Sarukian's not that guy. Because they're making business decisions. Fight the toughest and the hardest fight. And the guy who brings more fans, fight that guy. Yep. And Patty Pimblett's doing it the right way, man. I didn't think I'd ever say that about somebody. Patty's the one right now doing it. He's calling his shots like, hey, I want that guy that could potentially fucking knock me out, put me face down, ass up. I want that guy. That impresses me, to be honest. That impresses me.
That's what you're looking for.
Held down.
That's the whole thing, man. You want the guys that want the people that kind of are scary.
Yeah.
Justin's scary.
I mean, yeah, he's nasty.
Nasty. That's scary.
Yeah. And that's the thing is these younger guys, they can't beat these older guys. And that's what makes it even more like irrelevant. The sport is like, what do you mean the 27-year-old can't beat the fucking 36-year-old? What are you talking about? Like this shouldn't be happening. Like I'm just being honest, John. I think how many guys I've said, like people said like, wait, Dustin Poirier's still fighting? I talked to a guy. I was like, yeah, dude, this dude 1 fight away from a title shot. If he beats Max Holloway, he legitimately be like, you know what? I'm the BMFL title holder and there's no one else ahead of me. Let me fight fucking the winner of Ilya and Charles. And honestly, the UFC, I would not blame them for saying, yeah, let's have that fight. If Dustin will take it, let's do it. Would you blame him, John?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Dustin Poirier puts people in the seats, and I'm sorry, every single time he fights, he's the fucking man. He's the man. Him against Conor, him against Dan Hooker, him against Justin Gaethje. Like, I'm sorry, I'll tune in Justin Gaethje, I'll tune in every single time those fucking guys fight.
Dustin Poirier's fight with Dan Hooker.
One of the greatest ever.
One of the greatest ever. I'm not sure how many people actually saw it because of the time that it was done. But damn.
But John,
what a fight.
He lost the first 2 rounds. He dug deep in 3, 4, and 5 and said, fuck you, I'm not losing to this guy. And came back and won. I can't say enough about the kid. Love the kid. Just like Justin Gaethje, same thing. I know in the past, like Justin even had posted some comments about me on Twitter because I had questioned about like his fight IQ, which can always be questioned. But I love him. Doesn't mean that I love him any less. Like one thing I want people to realize is on this podcast, when these fighters are done and they're retired, I'll always have a place for them to come and talk on our show. The media will not. You will not hear an Ariel Helwani calling these guys afterwards and be like, yeah, come on my show. You're done fighting. They don't give a fuck about you. Trust me. So those guys, don't expect calls from MMA fighting. Don't expect calls from MMA junkie. I love those. I love the networks that are on there. I get it. I love the people that do the interviews. I love them all. But once you're done, I've had conversations with these guys. They don't call you afterwards. Not just me. I've talked to all the other guys at AK. They're like, yeah, they don't call me. They don't talk to me. They don't interview me. Nothing, unless I got something coming up. You'll always have a platform on here. We've interviewed Randy Couture. We've interviewed Chuck Liddell. We've interviewed BJ Penn. We've interviewed Patricio Pitbull. We've interviewed every facet of fighters on this platform. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep having the old school guys on here because those guys deserve to have the respect that lay the groundwork for this sport. So, look, I don't want to vent too much on you guys. It's been a long week for me in terms of family stuff as well as like just overall in general. But I got nothing but love for this sport. It's brought me a lot of happiness in my life. And I can't say enough, man. John's whole career has been around this sport. Yeah, outside of being a cop. But you know what I mean? Like this sport has done something for all of us. Even Keto George fought MMA, man. This guy. Like
fight Alta.
Yeah, right. And Train Alta, like he's done everything for them. Train Alta just had a show it was the UFC gym Huntington Beach versus UFC gym Costa Mesa. And my boy Ethan Tenori, who is Pat Tenori's son, had a great performance, beautiful knockout. But yeah, great performance. He was trained by Cub Swanson, trained with Juan Archuleta and some other stuff as well. Like he's worked that's Pat Tenori's son. Like Pat Tenori, if you guys don't know who he is, has his own clothing line called Tenori, but also was the guy who created and invented Ruka, the clothing line that he started in his own garage, his own place. BJ Penn made it famous by walking out in Ruka clothing and sold it, and then now has created Tenori clothing. So if you guys supported ever Ruka, make sure you guys support Tenori clothing. So Pat's a good friend of mine, and his son. Congratulations to him, Ethan, on your victory in your highlight reel spinning back fist knockout. I wish I would have had something like that against Yves Edwards. My whole life would be different.
Well, you tried. You tried.
Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. And it's been a great show, man. I know the fights were not great tonight, but there was a lot going on. Yeah, a lot going on. So I want to thank you guys for letting me vent tonight on you guys, and have a good night. And John, take us away, buddy.
For everyone out there, I hope you guys are doing well. Say a prayer for the people that Josh has just lost in his grandma, and we will see you.